Our next speaker is Ron Banerjee. He's from the Hindu Conference of Canada.
Thank you. A lot of people have mentioned that that this temple, this mosque, is going up, and we have a radical preacher. And a lot of people have posed the question: can there truly be an impact? Does this actually make a difference? Could there be prejudice? Could there be racism? Could there be terrorism as a result of a radical element coming from within a mosque or within any kind of religious institution? The answer is we've already had terrorism. In fact, the largest case of terrorism that has ever taken place in Canada, the bombing of the Air India flight, where 320 Canadian citizens were slaughtered and killed. And one part of that which is never mentioned is that part of the reason that this took place is that there was hate being preached, anti-Hindu hate being preached in Vancouver area Sikh temples and gurdwaras. And that helped to stoke, to radicalize a generation of young Sikhs that came to this country. Now, there are other reasons as well. Other reasons included the immigration policies of our federal Liberal government at the time, where there were open warnings from Canadian intelligence that thousands, hundreds, thousands of these people, these Khalistan Sikh terrorists that were being allowed into Canada, should not be allowed entry into our country. But they came anyway. Another instance, in the mid-1990s, 5 men, Islamic Muslim men, were arrested. They were arrested with bombs, explosives, and weapons in the trunk of their car. They were on their way to a temple, a Hindu temple, right here in York Region, in Richmond Hill. They were on their way to dynamite to blast that temple. And these men had been radicalized by an imam from a radical mosque down south. Mr. Bangash, he encourages, if you read his writings, if you read some of his writings in Crescent International, he encourages the expansion of a genocidal Islamic terrorist campaign that has been going on in the state of Kashmir. This man writes that it's not what has gone on right now in Kashmir, what has happened up till now, is not sufficient. He wants an expansion of the terrorist campaign. And let me tell you about what this campaign is all about. In the state of Kashmir, Pakistani-backed Islamic terrorists have ethnically cleansed 450,000 Hindus from the state. They have killed, they have raped, and they have slaughtered thousands of innocent Hindus. And this man, Mr. Bangash, wants the expansion of this genocidal Islamic terrorist campaign. This is a clear indication of the danger that faces Hindus and Canadians right here in Canada as a result of ravings, lunatic ravings from an individual like this Mr. Bangash. It is also relevant the region of the world where Mr. Bangash comes from. He comes from Pakistan. Pakistan is a nation that is well known for having, it is the world's largest breeder of terrorists, Al-Qaeda terrorists, Taliban terrorists. They have networks of mosques and madrasas where radical imams preach hate and genocide against Hindus and against the West. The Canadian soldiers are being killed in Afghanistan at this very time as a result of some of these preachings that are going on in these mosques and madrasas. The Taliban was spawned by this network, these networks of mosques and madrasas. The 17 men who are arrested in Toronto for plotting to commit a horrible outrage right here in our very city, in the city of Toronto. These people had gone to mosques in the Toronto area, and they had listened to certain radical preachers and imams. This man is a clear and present danger to the security and safety of Canada and to Canadian Hindus. The mayor of the city of Newmarket, we have had conversations with the mayor. The mayor and the city council are bending over backwards to appear to be tolerant towards this man and this mosque, this Islamic Society of York Region. And yet, the Islamic Society of York Region, their comment so far has been that Mr. Bangash will not be the main imam. He will be participating on a rotating basis. However, these leaders of the Islamic Society of York Region have openly stated that they find Mr. Bangash to be a very inspiring individual. What part of Mr. Bangash's preachings do these people find to be inspiring? Are they inspired and pleased by the ethnic cleansing of 450,000 innocent Hindus in Kashmir? Are they happy about the mass rape and the slaughter of thousands of other Hindus in India and in Kashmir? We must question these people. We must question their motivations. We must also not take them at their word when they blithely assure us that they will have Mr. Bangash work in the background. And although they fully agreed with the worldview and they find Mr. Bangash to be an incredibly inspiring and wonderful individual, and yet, miraculously, there will be no hate preached in their mosques. Is this believable? Is this something that we should take their word for? I ask you this question, and I leave it to the good people of Newmarket and to Canadians to decide this. Go ahead, Max.